Hi everyone, welcome back to Magazine 12. In this week's modelling workshop we'll be making up a set of runes for our battlefield. Let's get started on the build. I create a simple template following the design in the magazine. I'll make it available on Patreon, but you can easily make your own in any style you like. Let's print it out and cut out the template. Then using a marker, transfer the design to some 2 cm thick blue foam. I'm using the Proxxon hot wire cutter, but you could do this with a craft knife. You'll need 5 pillars for the runes, so cut out the template 5 times. To make the grooves for the stonework, I first made one of the pillars and then stacked them on top of each other, pushing them slightly into the wire. Then each on separately to cut the side grooves. Now let's add some texture to our runes. Take a rock and bash, hit and roll it on your foam to create some stone texture. One of my pillars snapped while doing this, but I decided to make it into a collapsed pillar. For each of the pillars we need some round supporting columns. I didn't have any round foam, so I took a square piece and cut it into a rectangle, 3 cm by 3 cm, and then cut the corners off to give curved edges. To round it off more, I squeezed the foam by hand until it was round. Then cut in some designs. I'm just adding a few lines and cutting each pillar to 2.5 cm high, or enough to fit 3 of them onto the pillars. To support our model, I'm cutting a base 30 cm using some cheap and lighter expanded polystyrene. I didn't have a compass, so I used some wire to give me a rough circle and then cut it out. I reduced the height of the polystyrene and the edges with my freehand hot wire cutter. Now we have all the parts made, it's time to put them all together, so fire up the hot glue gun. Glue 3 of your round columns together and glue those onto a pillar. For the broken pillar, I decided to just add one of the columns. Now glue those onto the base. You can see I roughly marked the centre of the circle, and since we have 5 columns, each is spaced at 72 degrees. Once they are all glued on, we can move on to adding some texture. I apply glue all over the base and sprinkle it with this fine sand, making sure I get some onto the pillars. Then I create a few more piles of Mod Podge and add some larger stones. Leave that to dry fully and then we can move on to the painting stage. Apply a dark grey all over the model and let it dry completely. Now my favourite part of any terrain building, let's use a dry brush technique to bring out the details. Add some light grey paint to a makeup brush and wipe most of the paint off. Then lightly brush over your model. This hits the high points and gives a very effective stone-like appearance with very little effort. Now it's all painted up, I'm going to glue on the pillars that broke when texturing. This turned out to be a pretty great accident. I think it adds more to the ruins than I was expecting. It's very grey at the moment, let's add some growth and nature as it reclaims the ruins, with some static grass, some pieces of hedge and some grass tufts. And there we have it, the ruins are finished. I think they look great and will really be a central part of the battlefield. I hope you enjoyed this one, let me know your thoughts in the comments, remember to like and subscribe. And a huge thanks to my patrons for your continued support. Until next time, happy modelling.